Our speaker tonight is Michael Aronstein from New Mexico, and he's going to be talking to us about baseball cards that he makes for the Pecos League and also some information on movie stars and other collections that he has. So with that, I'm really pleased to introduce Michael, and here we go.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I've been making baseball postcards since about 1968. And I incorporated a business in 1972 called TCMA, the Card Memorabilia Associates. And right from the start, we were making postcards for collectors to get autographs. We were doing retired players. Here's just a sample of the things that we did, but we made hundreds of them. And we also did Hall of Famers. And a lot of this stuff can be found on eBay autographed for, a fortune. In the 80s, I founded a company called Photofile. And we also made postcards, but we were mostly concentrated on photography. So the postcards was just sort of an extra thing that we did once in a while. The way the whole Pecos League started, I'll give you an idea of how the heck I got out here. And my wife and I bought a condo here in 2003. And I retired in 2007. And from 03 to 13, we went back and forth to New York. We moved to Santa Fe full-time in 2014. And as luck would have it, an independent league baseball team moved to Santa Fe in 2012. And of course, I became an immediate fan. The ballpark is 10 minutes from our condo. So in 2015, I started making cards for the players. Most of them didn't have postcard backs, they were just photos. So, but here's the kind of thing that I was doing. And I'd give each guy, a few pictures of himself. So these didn't have postcard backs, they were just photos. I'm trying to keep in order. In 2016, I started making postcard backs. And what I would do, I'd buy 8.5 by 11 paper and put 4 cards on it and cut it out. I'd use really thick paper that was glossy on the front, matte on the back. And I made them for all the guys. Here's the backs. And even though I was retired, I made a deal with Photofile that you could get a discount if you called, didn't work at all, nothing. And I did that till 2019. And then for some reason, the paper that I had used over the years that I had gotten at Sam's Club disappeared. I could not find it anywhere. So I had to find another stock to use. And also, COVID struck and they canceled the 2020 season. I discovered another stock for 2021. And let's see. I started doing 4x6 postcards for every guy on the Fuego. And also, if crazy stuff would happen, I would try to make a postcard if I got a good shot during the game. And here's one that's totally weird. Anthony Williams gets the win, allows 1 run in 5 innings, strikes out 14, gets 4 hits and 5 at-bats, 2 home runs and 2 singles with 7 runs batted in and 4 runs scored. That was 1 game, 1 guy. But I try to do events like that. Okay, let me get going here. Oh, the paper that I found, which if you want to make postcards, I find this paper terrific. It's called Ink Press Media Duo Matte 80. And the funny thing is, it was unavailable for the past 3 months. I was going bananas. And it just became available again. And I've been getting it from B&H Photo. You could probably find it on eBay, I'm not sure, but I know B&H has it. Oh, in 2022, I started making postcards for every guy in the league. There's 10 teams in the Western Division. So I would make cards for each guy, and I'd give each one 3 cards, and I would tell them one's for your parents, one's for your girlfriend, and one's to keep. So I have it all worked out what to do with the cards. And what I do is I show up an hour before the game starts. And I do, you know, when they're just starting to warm up, I try to get action shots, and I try to do pose shots of all the guys, and then I do action shots again during the game. So sometimes if it's only a 2-game series, it's really tough to get all the guys because I have to shoot them the night before, come home, make the postcards, and get them there the next night. It gets a little wild sometimes. Oh, I wanted to show see, here are the posed shots, like these, and then the action shots. And I try to get every guy. The 9 starters, of course, are easy. You know, the infielders, the outfielders, but sometimes you can't get the relief pitchers. So I use the post shots for them. Sometimes in the Pecos League, they have weird uniforms. Like the visiting team will come in, wear one uniform one day and another uniform the next day. So I try to shoot everybody twice. So here's an example of that. These are the Austin Weirdos. And one day they wore these uniforms, and the next day they wore these uniforms. So that's an easy one. What I do is when the Pecos League schedule comes out, it's probably January, February, March, whenever, I make 75 backs for all the teams. So when the season starts, I don't have to print the front and the back. I have the back already done. I do 75. I probably need more, but at least I have the 75 done, you know, going in. Oh, here's the All-Star game I did. You know, all the best players in the league on the back. What I also do is I make cards, baseball cards, and I give them to all the kids. I have a lot of fans. And also the players like these too, so I'm constantly making them for the players also. What I also do, this is not a postcard, is if I meet the parents in the stands, I make them collages of their sons. So, and then I have oops. These are all the 10 teams. I also had I was paid heavily for this. In one day, a parent brought me a bottle of water and another parent hugged me. So that was on the same day. Then I had an idea for the Fuego, and this idea could be used throughout the country. If you bring back a baseball, you get a free autograph photo. And I charge the Fuego $2 a photo. And the baseballs cost $14 each. So every time someone brings one back, they're saving $12. This season, they brought back over 200 balls. So I make them 8x10s, 8.5 by 11s. You know, it's easy. And the players sign them, and the kids love it. And we end up with ball chasers, you know, just so they can get photos. You have to talk to the team, of course, especially independent league teams where the money means a lot to them. Save a few $1,000. It works. Oh, for the photos, I use koala double-sided glossy photo paper, 69 pound. You can get that on eBay. And I just love it. It works like a charm. My printer is a Canon MX922, and it's perfect for 4x6 and 8.5 by 11. And I use it constantly, and everything comes out really well. The camera that I use is a Nikon Poolpix P900, and I use it with a monopod, to hold it really steady, and it works like a charm. The zoom is fabulous. Constantly using it. Oh, here's Postcards that Photophile did, my old company. It's a set of 20. My son and I did it in 2017. Didn't work. We couldn't sell them. I'm working on a project right now. I don't know if any of you know about it. We're making Cuban baseball cards for charity. And if anybody's interested, they could, email me and I'll give you all the details. I have a friend that goes to Cuba once a year and gives all the kids baseball gloves, bats, and balls. I think he can bring, I don't know, maybe 100 pounds with him. So that's what he does. And we're just doing this to raise money for the kids. I did a project when COVID was going. I sent out every week a COVID postcard telling people what was happening in Santa Fe. And I did it for 52 weeks. And I think I had 36 subscribers. It was all friends and family. And a lot of people just loved it. I stopped doing it when things improved, but it was just fun walking around Santa Fe. And there were weeks when there was absolutely nothing, no traffic, every parking space empty, stores closed. It was devastating. But I, as I said, would send everyone a postcard once a week. This is another thing that I collect. The Ross Verlag German postcards from the 20s and 30s, actors and actresses. What I love doing is Googling them when I get the cards. This is just a random page that I pulled out of my album, and I Googled this guy. His name was Siegfried Brewer. He died when he was 47, and he had been married 6 times. So that's the interesting kind of stuff that you find with these cars. But I feel that the photography is gorgeous, and the history is wonderful, and it's just, to me, it's a huge hit. Another thing I collect is the rotograph postcards. It used to be huge, but it seems now it's not as hot as it used to be. It has a lot of ships and pets and all kinds of stuff, but there's a lot of actors and actresses in it also, which I like to collect. That's really about it. That's all I got. I'm happy to answer any questions, and if anybody wants details, on the paper, the camera, the printer, any stuff like that, I'd be happy to answer the questions.
Thank you so much for taking the time to do this, Mike. I ran into a couple of questions as you were going through. I'm going to unmute everybody here in a minute, but I wanted to ask you, about the paying and getting hugs for the postcards that you send. I was wondering if you're actually paying the IRS taxes for that, or are you taking care of that as well?
No. I give them a cup of water to the IRS.
Yeah.
15% of the water that I get, I give to them.
I know. Anyway, that was a great talk. I appreciate it. So I'll just turn it over to the other folks. Any questions, please go ahead and speak up.
I had a comment. I think that those cards that you did are very good quality. And I'm sorry that when I put one in the newsletter, I didn't have a good scan, so it didn't demonstrate that beautiful quality of paper and printing that you did. And we could see them when you held it up, though.
The Cuban stuff is fun.
Yeah.
Doing that.
Yeah.
How
And
many,
it-
how many players, you mentioned that you take pictures of all of these guys in the league. How many
Yes.
people are involved in this, Pecos League that you're photographing each of these guys?
About 250. There's
Wow.
like 25 guys on a team. And what happens that I've been doing it now for 3 or 4 years, there's usually one or two guys on each team who know me. So they say, "Oh, he's okay." I'm not taking their photos and selling them to the Life magazine.
Oh, geez.
He's okay. You can let him take the photos.
Yeah, yeah.
And I have been approached by another team uh, who wants to do the same thing that the Fuego, giving the autograph photos. They want to try that. So I might make the photos for them. And when they come to town, I'll give them all the photos. I'll make 10 of each guy or whatever.
That's wonderful. You were one thing I was going to mention, you were talking about those cards that you made up during the COVID time.
Right.
We have one of our members, unfortunately, she isn't here tonight, but Clarissa back in Baltimore was really involved in the COVID situation. And I'm just wondering if you still have any of those COVID cards available that we might be able to get to Clarissa. I know that she would
Sure.
enjoy that.
I can make her some.
That would be wonderful. I'll email you some information about her. Like I say, unfortunately, she isn't here tonight, but I know that she'd be interested.
I had people from all over the country who were calling me and thanking me, and say, "Oh, we love those. We get them every week. We save them."
Absolutely, that's great. Go ahead, Joe. I'm sorry.
Oh, I just want to say great presentation, Michael. Very interesting. Uh, and I just had a question for you. I had a close friend who 2 to 3 years ago played for the Santa Cruz Seaweed. Did you do that team?
What was their nickname? The Santa Cruz?
Seaweed.
No, they were probably in the California division.
Yes, they weren't in the Picos, but they did play the Sturgeons one time. So that's, that was, but yeah. So, because I was wondering if you had a file, if you took a picture of him.
I only do the mountain division.
Okay,
So
yeah,
I don't see the other guys.
cool.
If they came, I would shoot them. Absolutely.
Yeah, he doesn't play any longer, but that's too bad. Yeah, that would have been a good gift. Yeah, if he didn't know it. Yeah, thank you. That's really nice. Thank you.
I love hearing from the players like a few years later saying,
Yeah.
"Can you send me some cards?" I mean,
By chance, he gave me baseball cards of himself when he was on that Seaweed. So someone else was doing baseball cards,
there
I
are people
guess.
making,
Yeah, that
my,
was it.
well, I have to say that my son works for an auction house now called Love of the Game, and baseball cards are going bonkers.
Okay.
I mean, the numbers are just astounding.
Yeah,
I mean, millions of dollars.
we have a friend in the stamp club, the Sequoia Stamp Club, and a member there, and he's into collecting baseball cards, and they really taken a big uptick recently. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've been involved with this for 60 years, but the numbers now are just astounding.
And this guy that I know from the stamp club, he was explaining to all of us a couple weeks ago on how now these cards, the old 1950s, 60s, 70s cards, whatever, they're all being graded. Now,
Yes.
big time, the grading world is through the roof right now. So you want to get them all graded, and it's high stakes now for baseball cards.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Totally
thank
bonkers.
you. Thank you.
Michael, can you
Yes.
hear me? You
Yes,
mentioned those 1930s German postcards with beautiful printed cards of actors and actresses. I
Yes.
have some of those. Do you want me to send you copies of them so you can see
Oh,
them?
sure. Yeah,
All right, I'll
absolutely.
do that. You might find them interesting.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I have tons of those because that the Ross Company did 20s and 30s. And so there's just a lot of terrific stuff in there.
I'm afraid I can't give you the cards, but I can send you the pictures.
Yes, I've seen the images, absolutely. That'd be fun.
Okay.
Debbie,
The
Debbie,
rotograph actress cards
There you
that
go.
Michael collects.
Yeah, it's a rotograph.
Yeah, they're actually very high quality because they were professional photographers in big cities like New York and Chicago and Boston, Philadelphia, who did these pictures of actresses and actors. So they're very high quality cards. There's hundreds of them to collect as well. But
Oh, yeah, I have like 10 albums full.
yeah, I just have one album. So, but they're really worth collecting. Very high quality cards before the Hollywood publicity machine got started.
Yeah.
that's great.
So,
Go ahead, Debbie. I know you had a question.
Michael, can you go over again the kind of paper? I wanted to,
Yes.
it was, one of them was Ink Press Media Dual Matte 80. Is that correct?
Let me find it. Let me find it. So I give, yeah, Ink Press Media Duo Matte 80.
Okay, and then you also mentioned, Koala double-sided glossy, 69 pounds. Did I get that right?
Yes. I use that for the 8.5 by 11s. And
Oh,
I-
okay.
And I
Do
just love
you-
that.
Do you use any kind of photo editing before you print it out, or do you just
I
take your?
just, I use Pages.
Oh,
it's-
okay.
Yeah, it's easy.
Uh-huh. Yeah, because those really look nice. I really wanted to compliment you on that. And
Thank you.
on your printer, you said it was a Canon X911? No, was that right?
Let me
22,
get-
922.
922?
Where'd it go? MX922 is correct.
Oh,
a Canon.
MX. Okay. 922. Does
And-
that go through? What's the ink usage on that? I'm just curious. Is it pretty good or?
Yeah, the little ink pods.
Ah,
And
okay.
Another thing I wanted to tell everybody, the forever stamps, there are people online selling forever stamps for 29 cents. I know it sounds ludicrous, but it's absolutely true. And if anybody uses a lot of stamps, you can buy them online for 29 cents.
Boy, they gotta be hot though, right?
No, they tell you right there, they say we buy when corporations go out of business and they have inventory of stamps, we buy them and then resell them.
Huh.
It's right on, it's right in their explanation. I told a buddy of mine and he buys like 1,000 at a time. Because, for business.
Yeah, yeah, good to know. I wanted to ask you one thing that I caught as you were going through your talk. You said something about Austin Weirdos. Is that
The
correct?
Austin Weirdos baseball team, yes.
I'm not. I was when I heard that, and that's probably the reason they have two different uniforms because they're a little weird, right?
Absolutely.
I just
Yeah.
heard that, and I thought, well, that's interesting. I need to ask about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
Well, a lot of those minor league teams have real interesting, catchy, odd names and themes. The
Oh.
team associated with the Giants, the Exploding Whales, is an interesting one from Oregon. And if you know
That's
the
good.
whole history, that's an interesting one where they blew the whale up in the 1970s. And it's actually that video is on YouTube.
Right.
Oh,
And and if you've seen that, that's one of the greatest videos ever to make you laugh. But yeah, so that's an interesting one. They have funny names, some of those teams.
The teams are from, New Mexico, New Mexico, Arizona, Colorado, Nebraska, Oklahoma, Kansas. So we have the Weirdos, the Wind, the Cowboys, the Flycatchers, the Bills. the Swaros, the Triggers, and the North Platte 80s.
That's great. I tell you, it's fun. We appreciate it. Any other questions to be asked? Please,
I just have a question about
yes,
did
please.
you play baseball as a kid, or were you a big fan? And you said you were from New York, or what was your background?
I started collecting baseball cards in 1951,
Oh wow.
and I've been a collector ever since.
Wow, okay. So that's where you
Unfortunately, I sold my collection in 1984.
Oh,
Too bad. It would be worth about between 30 and 40 million dollars now.
oh my gosh. Oh, that's painful.
But I try not to think about that.
That would be enough to keep you up at night. I tell you, just thinking about that, that's terrible.
Well, another story I like to tell is when I was 11, I went to the wholesaler and I bought a box of Bowman cards for 85 cents. And retail, they were $1.20. So I saved 35 cents.
Yeah.
That box today is at least $100,000. At least. If you had it, it would probably sell for a lot more than that.
Unbelievable, I tell you, it's amazing.
Thank you very, very much. It was a great program.
No, it was my pleasure, really. As I've said a million times, I have two friends that I have breakfast with about postcards, and we discuss how crazy we are.
All right, you're amongst friends here, I tell you.
Yeah.
We're all a little bit different, but anyway, it's okay. Well, thank
Take
you so
care.
much to
Thank you.
everybody for being here tonight. I appreciate it very much.